My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You may search everywhere, but none can compare with my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake she may let me take the bloom from my wild Irish rose. My rose, the bloom from my wild Irish rose.
Everybody hear that well? Yes. That was fantastic.
That was a sound check.
So I'll come up there.
How are you guys doing? How's everyone? Wow. Well, I'm Martha Rollins. I'm with Boston Comedy Project. I produce comedy shows, but we're not doing comedy today. Mostly we're doing music, spoken word, prose. We're thanking Amy Emmerts from Brookline Music, who coordinates this.
Commission for the Arts.
Do you want to say anything, Amy? Do you want to come here and talk?
No, not really. We're doing this as a project by Brookline Commission for the Arts. And we started Celebrate Music last year, and we're branding it this year, and we're really getting it moving along. And we did concerts in the spring, a Coolidge Corner Coffee House series in the summer. We're now doing these open mics, and then we're going to move back into a concert series we're going to be looking for musicians to do full sets. And then we'll do another coffee house series in the summer. So, welcome.
Yes, welcome. Welcome. This is great. As the temperatures go up, so do the bodies arrive in the room here, which is nice. It's nice to see you all here. So a couple just house rule stuff. Do not exit or enter out of this side door. If you want to go to the bathroom, please enter and exit out of that door. We have a local Brookline TV station here.
Brookline Interactive Group.
Yeah, they're
Erica
filming.
Mason. Yes.
If you do not want to be filmed, just tell me, and she will turn the camera off. But otherwise, it's just for local use, and it's not live. She's recording it. What else?
Oh, also, covers are okay because it's a nonprofit. We're not charging money, so you can do covers, no problem.
Okay, that's crazy. I just made a video over the weekend, and I was editing it on YouTube. And I had a Barry White song playing in the background for 20 seconds, and I went to go edit it and try to post it, and there was they stopped me. Who is monitoring my little homemade video and they wouldn't let me because of the Barry White song that I had just played in the background, like on a, so I got around it, I found a way. But yeah, right, that's like a big deal, what's the word? Royalties and stuff like that. Anyway, so Martha Rollins here. I also sell real estate. Isn't that crazy? There's Leah Cohen and I both sell real estate. That was like, we couldn't have planned that or anything. We tried. I said real estate, Leah Cohen walked in. Anyway,
It's just synonymous.
We're both happy to help you with whatever your real estate needs are. I know we have these guys rare to go. We have a lot of people on the lineup today. It's daylight now. This is a very casual kind of scene here, you guys. Anybody nervous? Don't be nervous. A little bit nervous? I love your honesty. Thank you for that. Let's take a deep breath in. Let's breathe her in and out. Because clearly, this is casual, right? This is kind of like your grandma's living room and you wanted to show her what you had. And I have to say, the reason I totally love doing this because the kind of people that come in here, it's just extraordinary. We've had every kind of person come in. This is only the third time I've done it, but Amy's been here a lot longer, and I appreciate the opportunity because it's just an amazing amount of talent that we've had here. We had a guy come in last month who did a rap song that was, kind of blew me away. We have a guy here back today, Yuki, who plays as if he should be on Symphony Hall stage. And everything in between. We had a girl here who was a senior at Brookline High School who blew us away with her original music. We had the Brookline Poet Laureate here last month. Who knew there was a Brookline? Did anybody know there was a poet? You knew. Maybe you are one. I don't know. I didn't know Leah knew. Leah's all things Brookline. But these are all, this is a joy because it's just fun to see people get together and perform their talent in a very comfortable, casual, totally no stress, low stress atmosphere. So don't be nervous. Everybody's here with smiles and friendly faces. And it's, gosh darn, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so how nervous can you get? Without further ado, I would like to introduce our friends, the Barbershop Quartet. They call themselves the Express Lane. Please give it up.
We're singing hi neighbor, what do you know and what do you say? Hi neighbor, throw your worries away. We're here to entertain you in the barbershop style. So throw your cares and troubles aside for a while. We're singing hi neighbor, my neighbor. Now's the time to say hi. Now's the time to say hi.
So we are Express Lane, and we're singing barbershop style. We're all members of the Barbershop Harmony Society. And for those of you not familiar with barbershop, 4-part acapella, close harmonies. We give the melody to our lead singer, Rob. We give the high notes, the sparkle, goes to our tenor over here, Skip. I get all the low notes on the bass.
He gets left over.
He gets left over. Doug is our baritone who makes the people fit together.
Can't believe we're breaking up. Ain't no chance for making up. Baby, don't treat me this way. You're gonna be lonely someday. After you're gone and left me crying. After you're gone, there's no denying. You feel blue, you feel sad. You miss the dearest pal you've ever had. Now there'll come a time, now don't forget it. There'll come a time when you'll regret it. Someday when you grow lonely, your heart will break like mine and you'll want me only. After you've gone away, you've gone away. And so there'll come a day when you will miss me. Remember the day when you could kiss me. One day you will go lonely. Your heart will break. You'll want me only. After you've gone away, gone away. You told me goodbye. Now it's your turn to cry. After you've gone away, gone away. Gee, it's so tough, 'cause I'm broke, babe. It's not a joke, babe, it's a crime. So now that you know what my trend is, all I can spend is just my time. For I can't give you anything but love, baby. 'Cause that's the only thing I've plenty of, baby. Just dream a while, scheme a while. We're sure to find happiness. see ya looking swell, baby. Those diamond bracelets Woolworths doesn't sell, baby. Until that lucky day, you know darn well, baby, that I can't give you anything but anything but I can't give you anything but love, baby. That's the only thing I need of, baby. Dream a little while, scheme a little while. We're sure to find a little happiness, and I guess all those things you always find for. Gee, I'd like to see ya looking grand, looking so grand, baby, even though I buy generic brand, baby. Until that day, I hope you'll understand, baby. I can't give you anything. I can't give you anything. My love, funny little thing of love.
A couple more songs for you. This one, our favorite ballad. The music was composed by a man who was famous for silent movies, Charlie Chaplin. He did it as a theme music for a movie that he was making in the 1930s. In the 50s, two lyricists whose names escape me, I can't remember, wrote the words based upon the theme. So I'm sure you can recognize it. It's a Wonderful Thought, Smile by Charlie Chaplin. Who did we get? I'm sorry. D. No, it's G. That's the next song. That's up there.
When your world is turned around, why not smile? Don't wear a frown. Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile, even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you'll get by if you smile through your fear and sorrow. Smile, and maybe tomorrow you'll see the sun come shining through for you. Wind up your face with gladness, hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use of crying? You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you'll just smile. You must keep on trying. Smile, crying on. You'll find that life is still worthwhile. Smile, Tanya, smile.
This one's the
This one.
This one's
I'm gonna live till I die. I'm gonna laugh, stare, cry. I'm gonna fill my cup until my number's up. I'm gonna live, live, live until I die. They're gonna say, hey, what a guy. who's a halo, a little sail that never trail over my head. I'll be a devil till I'm an angel, but until then, glory, hallelujah, dance, it's gonna fly. I'll take a chance, riding high, gonna take the sound and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live, 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 live until I die.
Those boy bands got nothing on you guys. At least you can sing. Those guys can't even sing, and you look better than them too. It's one hot quartet. We're gonna switch the lights because we forgot.
You have to tell me what to do.
We're a little absent-minded here. I went out last night. Anybody else go out last night? Look at me, I'm partying. I'm in my 50s. Look at me, I'm feeling very aggressive. I'm a little crunchy this morning. I'm a little rough around the edges. I'm so glad we have 12 people to perform, so I don't have to talk too much. We're just gonna make a little more mood lighting. Sorry we didn't do that for you guys, but it didn't matter because you guys were awesome. So thank you so much. I'm assuming that the Express Lane is available for all kinds of events for hire. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, you are. You know, we should encourage people, Amy, to bring them cards or, you know, I don't know how. All right. Well, if you have cards, you should leave them on the table. Let's promote people here. Let's make use of this time as well as, like, let's market. You guys are on social media, Express Lane, are you on social media? Yes?
We have a website right now.
Website. Facebook, you got Facebook?
Yeah. Soon.
Facebook's been around for a little while, just saying. That's true. One might have something to do with the other. I don't know. All right. Bradley, are you ready, Bradley? Yeah. All right, our next performer is Bradley Sidman. He's going to play a little piano, maybe a little vocal. He's not sure, whatever makes him feel happy. Let's give it up for Bradley Sidman.
Would you like the top up?
No.
All right, let's do that.
You gonna sing at the piano or just play?
I'll try to slide.
Leave this mic right here. Perfect. Awesome. Amazing. We're going to move right along. We good? We good? Yeah. We have somebody who's here last time who's going to bless us with his talents again today. Does anybody know what a euphonium is? Yes, we have some musicians in the audience. Thank you, Expressland, whoever you are, guys. We thank you for coming. We have, up next, Aaron Rivkin is going to play a solo euphonium, which he's going to bring forward, and you'll now know, everyone will now know what the euphonium is. He's gathering himself together. Aaron, do you want a chair and a lower down mic?
I don't need a mic, just a chair.
Just a chair.
So I can make the mics.
Is your mic picking up the sound?
I can turn them off.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Figured out as well.
Okay, so I'm going to play two works for you today. The first one is called Peace, P-E-A-C-E. It's a work for the euphonium and brass band. It was transcribed for euphonium. the next piece I'm going to play for you is for the tuba. This is actually a tenor tuba, so it's a little bit smaller. The tuba's probably about that size, a little bigger. The bell's a little bit bigger too. The composer who wrote this piece is Norwegian, and he has a Norwegian sense of humor, and he named this piece Fnug, which means something really, really small, like the size of a snowflake. Now, as you can see, this is not even close to the size of a snowflake, and I think it'll be more ironic when I start playing the piece, because you'll say, why? It doesn't really make much sense. But it's actually Fnug blue, so it actually has blue sounds, blue tones, kind of like the blues. It takes music from sort of that line. It also has extended technique for the instrument, so a thing called multiphonics, which is singing and playing, so it sounds just like this. Now, on top of that, I do different vowels. I'm actually saying O-E-O. I could probably even sing. So, almost works. So this is also has some beatboxing. So I use different sort of blowing into the instrument to create a lot of different sounds. So you hear all of these in Fnug.
Wasn't sure you were done.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that was great.
words.
I missed your intro, but was there Tibetan monks mentioned in your?
Yeah, no.
Doesn't that remind you of the two-tone Tibetan?
That's right.
Monk? What do you call it? In the tubia, they can create multiple sounds at the same time. My 2-year-old, when she was, she reminded me of a Tibetan monk when she was 2. She's 15 now. She's no longer reminding me of a Tibetan monk. No, she's not. I have other choice words. So let's move on. You guys having a good time? This is great, right? This is awesome. You just don't know what you're going to get here. It's such a mixed bag. Come on in, whoever's there, just come on down. Yeah, you can both, yeah? All right, let's see just what you want to share. I think, Aaron, is this yours? Oh, it's yours. All right, this is James Francis, who's going to be playing his acoustic classical guitar and some vocal. Please welcome him. Yeah, you got it. Take your time, take your time.
Just let me know when we turn back.
Can I keep it, but turn it down just a bit? It comes to get away, but away is gone. Even on your own, yeah, here is here to stay. Your dream, what the city was before, but it won't be anymore when you're on your own. He would not leave you when you're on your own. He won't deceive you when you're on your own. He won't believe in you. You are on your own. See yourself in glass, and you recognize in higher eyes a girl from the past. You dream what you never were before, but you won't be anymore when you're on your own. 'Cause you did not sway him when you're on your own. You did not stay him when you're on your own. You could not obey him. You
Bob Dylan in the room, you don't know about anybody else. No? Me? Just me? That was James Francis, he's a Brookline resident, is that right, James?
Yep.
All right, so again, like you guys, bring your cards, bring your whatever you want to do to market yourself here, leave them on the table, right? You know what you think? You should encourage people to network while you're here, you never know where you can get a gig. We're gonna continue on the same theme here a little bit. We have, except we'll switch genders. So I said, get some women up here, don't you? Okay, with a smile. We'll take it as a yes. Up next, we have Katie Dobbins. She's also a singer-songwriter, guitar, and she lives in the Boston area. Is that right? Do you want a double mic here situation? You want both?
Yeah.
It's up to you. Do you want a chair? Sit.
No, I can stand.
Do you need adjustments? Do you need help? You're good.
I'm good. Thanks.
All right.
Hi.
You're all set?
I think so. Thanks. Oh, that's too low. Sorry. Okay, hi, I'm Katie. I live in Somerville. And yeah, I'm going to play a couple original songs for you guys. This first one's called Neverland. Who do you think you are, taking this mended heart and trying to tear it back apart? You already had your fun, now it's time for you to be done. I'll send you all my love from Neverland. 'Cause I ain't coming back again. Find me in Neverland. I ain't coming back again. Find me in Neverland. Never ever late. Never ever late. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Who do you think you are, treating me like just another one of your memory girls? Just because you're lonely now doesn't mean I gotta come back around. I'll send you all my love from Neverland. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? I'll send you all my love. I'll send you all my love. I'll send you all my love from Neverland. This next song's another song that I wrote, and it's called The Mountain Song. It's actually about climbing a mountain, because I really like to do that, but we all have our own mountains, right, real, or use that as an analogy for something else, but I hope you like it. These stones are hard beneath my feet. The earth is pounding under me. Distant bird is echoing the song it sings. And I'm climbing higher. This is what I'm wired to do. I feel it burning, but I'm still yearning to cover every inch of you. These roots are firm beneath my feet. The trees are towering over me. Trickling breeze turns into wind. It's taunting me. I'm climbing higher. this is what I'm wired to do. I feel it burning, but I'm still yearning to cover every inch of you. Here comes the wind as it weaves through the trees. It's chilling my bones, it's shaking my hands as it dances right through me. The sun's on my back and it's hitting through me. It's cleansing my skin, it's making me drip as it exposes everything. Your world is vast for my small feet. Your stillness entices me. I'm addicted to the scent of wild reverie. I'm climbing higher, this is what I'm wired to do. I feel it burning, but I'm still yearning to cover you. I'm climbing higher, this is what I'm wired to do. I feel it burning, but I'm still yearning to cover you can check that out. Thanks.
Hey, that was Katie Dobbins. All right. Yeah, in between people performing is a good time to exit or enter, just audience courtesy, being a reminder. If you don't mind, I think we're going to do Ross next, but if you don't mind, are you okay? Where's Ross? There you are. Sorry. If you're ready, Maria, would you guys mind going next, just to break up the, we're doing a lot of folk stuff all in a row, so I thought we could try. Yuki, are you okay to go up next? Yeah? So up next we have Maria Jane, how do you say your last name? Loizu and Yuki Futami, and they are fabulous from New England Conservatory. Maria's going to sing and Yuki's going to play the piano. Let's have you guys set yourselves up. No mic. No mic. Okay. No mic. All right, she's got good projection. Attention. We're going to do two songs. Love Walked In by George and Ira Gershwin. And second, we're going to do Oblivion by Piazzolla. So it's going to be a tango. Since it's an Italian, I should tell you what it's about. It's basically a bad breakup song. So I think you'll get the hang of it. Very different, yeah. You didn't want to play your own solo pieces today.
I'm fine.
No, I mean, I actually took singing lessons way back 25, 30 years ago, and I sounded nothing like Maria sounded, but that was really great. You have to come back another time you can play your, I don't know what you want to call it, classical piano. That's what you do, right? Pretty much classical piano.
Yeah, old stuff.
Or just about maybe everything, I don't know, maybe you're so versatile, you can do anything. So, Yuki's an amazing piano player, so thank you guys. Up next, oh yeah, here it is, it's back there. We're gonna go back to our acoustic roots here, our acoustic guitar with our next performer is Ross Kaya. Ross, come on down, he's a mass art student. Love the students coming down to Brookline today. He's going to continue. Would you like a second mic?
Please.
We have to set up so feedback.
Oh, let's keep it away now.
Is that live? Just trust it. Yeah.
Greetings. Yes, I'm a mass art student. I like to play folk. knows best. Yeah, so I spent the majority of my time taking pictures and drinking beer, but when I'm not, I like to play music. I like playing in the band a lot better, but I haven't found a band recently. But glad to be here tonight. Shut this heart, but your cold is good. You've gone too far and you can't come home. Did what you want, you measure the road. Always thought you feel so low. Where'd you go, you were my best friend. You're taking shots, you're gonna keep your friends. Grass is green on the other side. You thought the world was black and white. Oh, and I know you're just afraid, but you won't be happy this way. You think you want to see me fade, and I'm like a train on a cold steel train. Oh, now nothing's gonna stop me, 'cause I'm moving on. If you work real hard to find success, every dream of at its best, lie away on that fence. One promise confidence, still alone inside your head. Reservoir of empty said, where you go, you my best friend. Stand down to just a girl I know you're just afraid, but you won't be happy this way. Then you want to see me fade, and like a train on a cold steel train. Oh, now nothing's gonna stop me, 'cause I'm moving on, oh yeah.
This room is terrifying me. That was awesome. Ross, where are you going? Did you say Pittsfield? What? Springfield. Got it. All right, who knew? Who knew what was out? It was lurking in the corners of Brooklyn. You never know what you're going to get in here. That's what makes it so so cool to come here and see what comes up. You guys good? Everybody's good? We still have refreshments over there, help yourself. Leah, you guys want to do something? Oh yeah, let's fill in.
No, trust me, you don't want me singing it.
And Ross is going to some cards, excellent.
Yes.
Perfect. Oh, you got music, you got CDs?
Excellent.
Wow, I'm gonna have to grab one of those. That was awesome. Do you know Katie? Do you guys, I can see you guys doing like a show together, like, right? Am I right about that? I felt a little bit like there's something should happen to me. I was gonna do some matchmaking, but you're doing it for me. So I'm good. Nobody can blame me. I have 3 daughters. I'm such an embarrassment to my daughters, you have no idea. So if I bring it up here a little bit, I apologize. It's just what I do. My kids are terrified of what might come out of my mouth. But you said it. I didn't say it. All right, so let's move along. Harry? Harry, sorry. What's your first name? Stuart. I can't keep it pretty straight. I'm old. I'm sorry. Harry's up next. Harry's gonna, you gonna plug in or is you acoustic?
No, just acoustic.
All right, because we could have gotten crazy in here. We could have plugged you in and things could have gotten crazy. We're keeping it mellow in Brookline. You smell that smell in the air, people? The smell of clean streets and parking tickets. Right, Leah? Oh my God. I haven't had one this month yet. Brookline kills me. I work on the corner, by the way. My office is right in the corner. I work at Sotheby's. Don't I look like a Sotheby's real estate agent? That's what I do for a living. That's how I make my money. Are you almost ready to do any mics or 2 mics, 1 mic?
Two, or should I just...
You know, whatever you like. We're ready to please. We're ready to please. I'll break them in too close to the other one.
Yeah, right. We might not need that.
We'll let you adjust.
All right. Okay. So I'm Harry, and I'm going to torture you with an original, just briefly, and then I'll try to do 2 quick covers. And you can find some of my stuff on YouTube, Harry Grossman Music, and Facebook, Harry Grossman Music, and also on SoundCloud, Harry Grossman. All right. So this song is called "My Mind on My Mind," and it's about like trying to get something done and not being able to do it. All right.
I'm still feeling fine, wishing for someone. I still got my mind on my mind. I'm still feeling swell, the clock is counting down as well, but I'm still got my mind on my mind. I'm still feeling okay. There's not much more that I can say. I'm feeling like my brain is fading away. I'm still feeling great. Trying not to get irate, but I feel like I got too much on my plate.
All right. So I don't know about you guys, but I was pretty dismayed about the election, and
So someone mentioned that Bob Dylan's song "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall" was a fitting song for the state of affairs. And it's a long song, but I'll just do a couple verses because I think there's a few things in there that are pretty fitting. Things about pollution, poisoned waters, and executioner's face is always well hidden. Also, yeah, if you want to sing along the chorus, that'd be cool. So the chorus goes, and it's a hard, and it's a hard, and it's a hard, and it's a hard, and it's a hard rain gonna fall, or something like that. At least that's how I play it. All right. Where have you been, my blue-eyed son? Where have you been, my darling young one? Stumbled on the side of 12 distant mountains, walking and crawling on 6 crooked highways. Step in the middle of the seven-sided forest, behind in front of a dozen dead ocean, 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard, and it's hard, and it's hard, and it's hard, and it's hard. And it's a hard rain, it's gonna fall. What are you doing now, my blue-eyed son? What are you doing now, my darling young one? Going out back before the rain starts to fall. Walk to the depths of the deepest black forest, where people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their waters. Well, in the valley, it's the prison. Well, the executioner's face is always well hidden. Well, hunger is ugly, and souls are forgotten. Well, black is the color, and none is the number. Tell it and I'll think it and I'll speak it and breathe it. And reflect upon wounds all souls can see it. And I'll stand on the ocean till I start singing. And I'll try to know my song well before I start singing. And it's so hard. And it's hard, and it's hard, and it's hard, and it's a hard rain is gonna fall. Alright, so let me just sneak another quick one in, if that's alright. Mary Tyler Moore died recently, and I had a big crush on her growing up. And so I thought I'd do a theme song, Love Is All Around Us, song from Mary Tyler Moore Show. And,
8 or 9 years. And I had a hat company called Martha Made It. And my promo for my marketing for my brochure was me throwing my hat into there, just like Mary Tyler Moore. And people got it immediately. Unmistakable. That's why she'll forever go down in history, that poor Mary Tyler Moore, that throwing of the hat. She did a lot for TV, just so you know. She was amazing, promoting sitcoms, etc. So I know we have a storyteller, but we're gonna, if you don't mind going at the end, we're gonna try to tighten things up here because we have had so many people today. We're gonna try to keep moving along. So if you want to go up next, yeah, Chris is coming up. We haven't had anybody do poetry today. Thank you for coming. But we've had poets in the past, and we encourage you. Come to encourage spoken word of any kind. We did have a comedian come one time, and that's allowed. Just so you know, I'm keeping it clean here for you. Welcome, please, Chris Foster.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Foster. I'm from the Boston area, specifically Roxbury, and I'll be performing two of my poems. The first one is called Deeper Than a Feeling. What I feel is deeper than a feeling. What is in me is deeper than feelings, like the inside of fruit without its peelings, gravity with no ceiling. Put out and exposed to the elements in the cold, clothes on my back with nowhere to go. Left to fend for yours on my own. As much as I tried to decipher the grown man's code with little to no success at my lowest point, but still blessed. That pace can be found in whom I have rest through the furnace in each test. What I sense is deeper than feelings as I move forward to a new year brings like I'm so close yet far, yet high but still low. Being on fire but my whole body is freezing cold. And behold, the wisest man once said, you are more than what you've been told, like being cut from a new material while still stuck in the same mold. Then I hear the words, who do you think you are to be so bold? What kind of man are you? You are this, you are that, and the other, a weak, soft, timid little brother. No, that's not true. I choose to refuse to believe. Call me whatever you want, but you can't. That is not the way that the Creator made me. My Savior wants me to perceive it. What is around me is deeper than feelings, so before the world has a chance to kick me when I'm down, I will reach deep inside myself and pull out once in every crater fire that burns deep with such passion and desire to expose those clowns for who they really are and aim and spread my wings and shoot for the stars. This next piece is called Ice and Snow. I am ice, I am snow, fell from the sky down to earth and go with the flow. Cold, calculating, yet still gentle and humble. I follow your footprints, but slip and you will stumble. Break but never broken, freeze but never frozen. Such words are never spoken. When the heat comes my way, I take many forms like magic. I am reborn. No boot camp can reform. Soft in appearance, change the temperature, and you will soon find out how hard I can be. In the summertime, you will be glad to have me around as I touch the ground, and I don't even make a sound until someone steps on me. Overall, when I fall, I feel free to be me, and I have the power to stop the greatest ocean, river, stream, and sea. Travel way up the north and south, and there's no end to me. You will feel my true purpose. There's no end to me. I am changing, expanding constantly. Layer upon layer, I am a true player with Mother Nature. Go ahead, I bet if you were to place a wager on how many flakes I have, you couldn't guess. But I bet if anyone spent one day with me, they will never know how to handle me. Then off they will go back home away from me as I remain prosperous, stand alone and grow. I am ice, I am snow.
I love this. I love these open mics. Become an open mic huge #1 fan of open mics. I love the poetry. Thanks, Chris Foster. Thank you for coming out. Super much appreciate that. Matt is not here, correct? No. Okay. All right. So we're going to do Stuart next, and then we'll have Bambi after that. That's okay with you? Yeah. Okay. Stuart Feldman is here. Do you need anything? You got what you need?
Yeah,
Yeah. No. Let's put this down.
every time I look into your loving eyes, I see love that money just can't buy. One look from you, I drift away. I pray that you are here today. Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it. Anything at all, you got it, baby. Every time I hold you, I begin to understand. Everything about you tells me I'm your man. I love to be with you. No one can do the things you do. Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it. Anything at all, you got it, baby. Anything you want, anything you need, anything at all. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I plan to give my love to you. I know you feel the way I do. Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it. Anything at all, you got it, baby. Anything you want, you got it. Anything you need, you got it. Anything at all, you got it, baby. Anything at all, baby. You got it.
All right. Do you like to do karaoke?
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I wish I need to know a good karaoke place. If you got it, let me know later.
But I go to primary school, just like recital, towards the end of spring.
Oh, all right. check that out for a smoky bar. What kind of fun are those? Nowhere these days. All right, guys, so we're gonna save our storyteller for last. We have a storyteller coming up here next. Her name is Bambi Good. She's gonna be telling the story. Are you a local Brookline resident?
Almost got my life.
Almost on your life. Oh my God.
That's a long life.
All right. Well, good for you. I'm gonna lower that down and do what you gotta do. You may do whatever you like.
No, I mean, I don't know how to get
Take it out from here. Take it out.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I can walk around. You guys, if you need to stretch beforehand, just go ahead. So I don't know how many of you have been to storytelling in Boston, but if you're interested and curious, just speak to me afterwards, and I'd be happy to share with you venues to listen to storytelling and other related things. So I'm just looking over this audience. It's hard for me to guess how many of you have had hitchhiking experiences in your life. Yeah? Yep. Okay, so maybe you can relate to this, and if you haven't, maybe this will help you decide whether you want to or not. It's probably a little late now for hitchhiking. You know, I did it back in the 60s. A lot safer then. I began my hitchhiking career when I was still in college, and I went to Italy, to l'Università per Stranieri, per studiare italiano. And on the weekends, I went with my friend Barbara, and we went hitchhiking on the autostrada. And I had long black hair, so I was kind of boring. I looked like an Italian girl, girl. And Barbara was short, and she was la bionda. And they, in 1 second, her thumb was out on the highway. I was hiding in the bushes, and the car would stop. No problem with any driver. It was always a single male, because single women weren't riding on the autostrada in those days. And we would get our ride, and we would be dropped off whenever the gentleman had to exit the highway, and that was fine. Well, I was emboldened by this, I guess. And a year after I graduated from college, I was quite blown away by the amount of work it took to be a high school English teacher. So I went off to Europe for 10 months, knowing only that I was going to start in England. I landed in London, and as much as I loved London, I began to get a yen for moving a little beyond London, and I decided I needed to go to Wales. When I was young, we had a copy of How Green Was My Valley by Richard Llewellyn in our house. You'll see a nod. And I always would read just the first page of the book. But it was beautiful, and it was evocative. The language was beautiful, and the description of Wales was beautiful. So I decided I must go to Wales. I took the train from London to Cardiff. And at that point, that was going to be my last time on public transportation. I had no idea how I could get from one place to another out in the countryside on buses and trains, so I was going to hitchhike. My first hitchhiking experience, it was always, again, single men. My first experience was hitchhiking on the side of the road, heading north up the coast, more or less on the coast on the west, and a man picked me up. It was an uneventful ride until he pulled off the road and parked the car on an entrance to a beach. And he said, let's get out and see Carnarvon Bay. So I got out to see Carnarvon Bay, at which point we were standing on the beach, and he put a hand on each shoulder, and he said to me, I'll bet you never thought you would be kissed by a Welshman in Carnarvon Bay. And actually, that wasn't in my plans. I had never expected to be kissed by a Welshman in Carnarvon Bay. But fortunately, he let go of me. There was no further incident. I went back to the car, which he stupidly had not locked, but luckily for me, and I took my little bag and I went on my way. Not with much difficulty, I went back out to the road, and this time, for the first time, I was picked up by a couple. And this was very relaxing, and they were very charming and very obliging, and they drove me for quite a while. I was heading north now towards Carnarvon Castle. That was my next destination.
But all of a sudden, the man pulled off on the side of the road. I wasn't scared. The woman was sitting in the front seat, other front seat, I guess on the left side, as he was driving, obviously on the right side, our being in Wales. And he crossed the road, and he stood there for quite a while. And during the time he stood there, all I could see was his back. The woman turned around and said to me, "My husband there, he stopped by the side of the road here because last week his elderly father was driving his Ford Escort. He had a heart attack, we think, and his car went over the side of the hill and burst into flames. And he is standing there now, I imagine, remembering his father." He came back to the car, and she told me that, they told me that they were going to this next town where they would be seeing the police and the fire department and the bailiff and whoever else they had to see for legal matters, and to get the ashes from his body. They dropped me off in the town. I was pretty chastened by then. And I went to find a place to sleep for the night. And in those days, as I imagine there are now, but I haven't been back, there were many assigned for bed and breakfasts in small towns. And there was a very clear sign just a block or two away from where they had dropped me off for a bed and breakfast. I rang the bell, the woman answered the door. She seemed friendly enough. I walked in. I had actually never seen a place quite like this before. There was more color, more texture, more different wallpapers, more antimacassars on every sofa and every overstuffed chair. 3 or 4 kinds of rugs on the floor, one on top of another, one next to another, with to me no rhyme or reason. Pictures of the relatives on the wall. And this permeating smell of coal smoke, this year's and last year's. It was late in the afternoon, so she brought me afternoon tea. That afternoon tea could have been lunch and dinner, it was so plentiful. And she left me to my own devices and went about her business. That night I slept very well, I suppose. I had a very full belly, but not so full I couldn't sleep. And I woke up in the morning to a full Welsh breakfast. At the time I was neither vegetarian nor vegan, so it was fine that I had eggs and butter and cheese and, well, sausages even then I wouldn't eat, but I could manage to eat much of what she put before me. Oh, and the oatmeal, the porridge, of course. But this time I was not to eat by myself. We sat in the drawing room, the one I've just described, and she proceeded to talk. She talked about the leprechaun. She talked about the elves. She talked about the spirits of the woods. She talked about the mountain peak on which, the side of which, if a man fell asleep, he would wake up a poet or a madman, or maybe not wake up at all. Then her stories became a little realer to me, and I was finding a fine line between the stories that she told as being spooky stories and unusual stories, and I was beginning to get closer to her stories, and they began to make a kind of sense to me. In other words, I was drawn in. And then she segued from the stories that were more mythic and a little harder to understand to telling me about her son. And she told me that last week her son had been called upon for the most difficult job of his life. He had been on duty, and he was called to drive down the road and rescue from a Ford Escort an old man who had seemed to have had a heart attack and had driven off the road, and his car was consumed by flames. And she said, "My son is still shaking from that experience." And having just met the father, the son of that man, I was shaking from hearing the story myself.
I was totally paying attention to your story, but sometimes when you listen to a story, for me anyway, I like to look away from the storyteller and just let the voice, because your voice is very resonant and it's very soothing. And I found myself like completely in your story, but I find myself needing to look not at you, but to picture everything, so that anyway, just my little storytelling thing. How about you guys? Do you guys ever go to story slams? It's a huge thing here in Boston. Do you go to story slams?
Yeah, if anyone's interested, for 5 years I was Chief Justice of the Mass Mouth Story Slams in Cambridge. But there are places to listen, so if anyone's interested, just come and ask.
So you know Nora Dooley, do you know Nora Dooley?
Nora is the one who asked me to be the Chief Justice.
Well,
When
yeah.
she first started.
It's a
And
whole
her
darn.
sister works upstairs, Kathy.
Oh, wow, it's a very small town here. Storytelling in Boston is a dark, ugly underground. There's a lot of politics that go on. I'm kidding. Although a good friend of mine was a judge at a story slam at the Coolidge Corner Theater, and she did give me
Who
some.
was that?
Carrie Schmidt.
Because I trained all the judges for the finals.
Yeah, she's one of my besties.
Yes, she's fabulous.
I was out with her last night, that's why I'm a little tired. Carrie kept me up. I'll tell her I saw you today. So guys, thank you so much for coming. I have an announcement on Sunday, May 7th, right here in this room. Yuki and Maria, the people who are doing the combination, what kind of singing do you call it? It's classical singing.
Well, it's also, we're going to do cabaret and jazz.
Oh, okay, so there's some serious variety going on right here at 2 p.m. Sunday, May 7th. They're going to have a concert here. It's free. It's free. It's a library. It's a nonprofit. Thank you guys for coming. Amy, when's our next?
To be announced. Stay tuned. I've got everybody's